الدين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. There is a hadith attributed to our first Imam, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhim as-salam, in which the Imam gives us 3 attributes of mura'i. Mura'i is a person who is a show-off, whose faith is not deeply rooted and sincere, but rather which is for others to observe and to praise and then maybe to get some benefit in this world. And the danger of being mura'i is that it can lead a person to becoming a munafiq or a hypocrite. This is one of the symptoms. It is not the same thing, but if you have a shallow faith, and if the standard by which you measure your character is what other people say, then there is always the risk that you will lose your faith entirely, and it will simply become something that is there in name and not in reality or in substance. So Imam Ali is giving us, according to this hadith, a series of attributes that we can say define risk factors for nifaq, risk factors for hypocrisy, or that directly are attributes of riya or showing off. The first is that a person is very enthusiastic and active when they are in a group. يَنْشَطُ إِذَا كَانَ مَعَ النَّاسِ. You have nashat, energy, activity when you are in a group. Now, by itself, that is not a bad thing. In fact, we are told to look for good company so that it motivates us and it teaches us and it protects us. So I should be looking for believers and people of good character to be my friends, even if there's something that I can do on my own. If there is a good companion who can accompany me, then that will add barakah and blessings. We are told that it is best not to eat alone, even if it's convenient for you just to go and grab a bite, but if it's possible, try to find somebody. Not to travel alone, not to sleep alone at home. If you are alone, then if there is a relative or a family member or someone that you can invite or that you can go to, that is better, because Islam encourages us to have good company. But Imam Ali says that if your being in company is what gives you nashat, then that is a risk factor. So how do we reconcile those 2 different messages? I want to have good company to motivate me, so that company should motivate me. But Imam Ali says that if I become enthusiastic when I'm with company, that's a bad thing. And it is a sign that I am a show-off, I am at risk for hypocrisy. Well, first of all, this attribute is negative if it is in conjunction with the next 2 attributes that I will mention. And second, you should have the nashat even when you are alone, that enthusiasm. But then when you have good company, it is something that reinforces and strengthens and gives you direction and helps you to stay on the right path. So for example, if I'm alone, then I don't have any desire to do nafilah. But when I see that you're with me, all of a sudden I want to do nafilah so that you can see me. Now, that is a bad trait. But if I have that desire, if I have that enthusiasm, and our being together is what motivates me and keeps me on that right path, that is not a bad thing. Think of it like your own practice in other areas of life. If you are a student, having a classmate or a study partner will help you keep ahead of your assignments and your class material. But that can't be the reason that you study. If that is the reason that you study, eventually you're going to tell your friend, why don't we watch a movie rather than study? You have to have the nashat and the motivation within you. And if you have the motivation within you, then yes, when you are in good company, you might study better and more effectively and more consistently than when you are alone. So there is no contradiction. The nashat should be there even when you are alone. It shouldn't be just because somebody is with you. But then when you have the nashat, you have the desire, you have the enthusiasm, finding good friends and good companions will help you keep the motivation, be consistent, and do things not only more regularly, but to do them better. However, if I don't want to read Quran, or dua, or nawafil, or fast, or give sadaqah, when there's nobody there to see, that is a risk factor. I should feel like there is an alarm going on. Why is it that when I'm alone, I don't think of Allah? And when I'm with somebody, I do. That is the first. يَنْشَطُ إِذَا كَانَ مَعَ النَّاسِ. When you are with people, then you have nashat and energy. And then the flip side is يَكْسَلُ إِذَا كَانَ وَحْدًا. When you are alone, then all of a sudden you are lazy. Then it isn't important to do what is good. And this does not need much explanation because it is self-evident. It isn't even apparent contradiction with other messages that we get. When you are alone, you should have a motivation to do what is right. And one of the ways that we can keep a balance is to do things both in public and in private. So, for example, with nawafil, it is recommended to do them at home. And your wajib prayers, it is recommended to do them in the masjid. That is just one example. The same thing is true of sadaqah. Zakat in particular, or your wajib religious dues and obligations, you should give them publicly. Why? To tell yourself that this is not showing off, this is just paying a debt. I'm not getting any extra credit for paying my debt. And also to establish that baseline for my family and for my community. Somebody might say that nobody does it, why should I do it? But if they know that other people are also doing it, then it might encourage them or motivate them or remove an obstacle for other people to do well, in addition to the one or two people who are taking care of their obligations. So you do certain things publicly, in particular what is wajib. But then don't limit yourself to that. Do an equal amount or a greater amount in private. When it comes to fasting, the wajib fast is 1 month of the year, but then the recommended fast is double that. When it comes to the prayer, your wajib prayer is 17 rak'ah a day. The recommended prayers are double that. So this is a form of an equation that Islam has given us. It doesn't have to be double, but there should certainly be something that I do publicly and something that I do privately. And when I maintain that balance, then I can avoid either extreme. Some people are embarrassed even of what is wajib. They want to pray a wajib prayer, but they'll go somewhere and hide so nobody sees because they don't want to seem like a show-off. That's a problem because it implies that paying a debt, in my mind, counts as showing off. Either it means that something is wrong in my mindset, or it means something is wrong in society, where wearing hijab, performing your prayer, giving your zakat, doing your fast, this would be something that people will perceive as arrogant or as showing off. So either I am thinking about it the wrong way, or maybe I'm not thinking about it the wrong way, but my society does not have a healthy relationship to their obligations, where I feel the need to do what is wajib in secret. Otherwise, it might seem like showing off, or it might seem arrogant. So number one, if you have energy when you are with people, that is one risk factor for being a show-off. If you become lethargic and lack energy when you are alone, that is a risk factor for being a show-off. And then the third attribute, وَيُحِبُّ أَن يُحْمَدَ فِي جَمِيعِ أُمُورِهِ. If you want to be praised in all of your affairs. Many of us, we soak up praise, but we don't like criticism. The moment somebody criticizes, we become defensive. Right? Immediately, if somebody says, you could have done this better, even if they do it gently, or if they do it very kindly, or even if they do it out of love, I will immediately deny, or I will defend myself. Or maybe I'll even make something up just to deny that reality. Maybe I'm blinding myself, maybe I know, but I will not admit it to another person. That is a sign that I am shallow, that I am a show-off, and my faith is at risk for being lost. I'm at risk for hypocrisy. So, what is it that makes me able to receive criticism? One very important factor is to be self-critical. If I recognize my own faults, then it's not going to be a shock to me if somebody else also sees them. In fact, I will be conscious that other people will also see maybe something of what I see. And if you try that, what you will notice is that even if somebody maybe is not very kind in the way they give criticism, if you are self-critical, then your subconscious response will be, you don't know the half of it. You just think, for example, that I didn't give my full effort. I know that I didn't give any effort. The grace of Allah allowed me to achieve a minor success. So rather than feel angry and defensive at the criticism of others, I will feel humbled and thankful that alhamdulillah, Allah hid from you the worst of it. You only know a little bit. Because not everybody's criticism is done in the best words and in the best manner. Sometimes it comes out mean. Sometimes it comes out in anger and frustration. But if I already think that I am worthy of more criticism than what they are giving me, I will be able to deal with it without becoming arrogant or defensive, or without remaining in denial. So one thing that is important to avoid this risk factor, Imam Ali tells us, is be critical with yourself. And the second and the final factor that I will mention is solicit criticism. Go to your family and people you trust, your friends, and say, don't tell me I did a great job. Tell me what I did wrong. Tell me what I can do better. If you are at work, then somebody you trust who is a coworker or a mentor. If you are in school, then your professor or somebody who is ahead of you in school. If it is somewhere in your life where you have your parents, you have uncles and aunts, you have relatives, you have friends, then solicit their opinions and don't look for just superficial praise. Look for constructive, healthy criticism. What can I do better? How can I improve? When you solicit criticism, then it means that you're more likely to get it in the most constructive manner, rather than somebody will bottle up what they are feeling and then tell you when you have a fight. And then, even if it is accurate, it might not have a benefit. So the hadith once again of Imam Ali, ثلاث علامات للمرائي. There are 3 symptoms of somebody who is a show-off, somebody who is at risk for being a hypocrite. One is they have nashat when they are with people. Two is they lose energy and enthusiasm when they are alone. And three is we're always looking for praise, soak up the praise, but reject any kind of criticism. That makes us complacent, and it means that we will not be able to improve our character because we are looking to defend what we have rather than improve and live up to our potential. May Allah protect us from showing off and from hypocrisy, and increase all of us in sincerity so that we can adopt the character and the ideals of Ahlul Bayt themselves. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sallu ala Muhammad.